Okay, so this week we are talking about the importance of stakeholders and in chapters 5 and also in chapter 6, we're talking about when group can go wrong. So collaboration is super important, and it's important for us to make sure that we meet with everyone. One of the things that I noticed about and what some of the information that I've gotten the most from at all the schools where I've worked in, from kinder to all the way to high school, is from my yard supervisors and the people who watch the students and the security officers who watch the students as they're coming to school and leaving from school. So a lot of times, if you're looking for who's the parent, who's the guardian, who are these people, you need to, make sure that you're collaborating with all people that work on campus, because sometimes when you need to communicate some sensitive information to an adult, you're able to find out who's the guardian, who are they living with, and also maybe sometimes even getting additional information. Like if you notice, sometimes a student will confide in someone on the campus that is not a teacher. It could be the custodian. It could be whoever they bonded with on campus, and that person is the person that can give you a lot of additional accurate information based on what the student has shared with them. So, also, it's really important that we serve on various committees within our school. So, I'm on leadership, I'm on um, school site council, I'm on ELAC, I'm on community schools. These are all the different outside groups that involve the parents, um, our community liaisons, and this helps to build so that we're not always stepping on each other's toes, but that we're not all we're communicating together and we're working effectively for the sake of the students. Um, Stakeholders are anybody. It could be, I mean, I have a lot of neighbors that come and say, my neighbor said that her children go here and this is what she reported to me. So sometimes you just, if they're coming to the school and sharing information, willing to give their full name, their ID, and all that information, we definitely want to take that information because they hear things and you can piece together a story through their efforts. So it's important that we don't leave anyone out, local leaders, neighbors, family members, and administrators. So, the purpose of us collaborating with all of these people is to ensure that we increase the skills when working with the students with disability. We strengthen relationships. We collaborate with schools, promoting school improvement efforts. We have relationship building. We support family involvement. Like, what is the beat of our school? It changes over time. So I would say when I started at this specific school about 9 years ago, everyone was working. Then everyone stopped working as parents because they had more opportunity to stay home. And now everyone's back working because of the cost of everything today. So now we don't have as many volunteers at our school that used to be able to participate and stay at home and manage. So this is really important. So a lot of times we've had to change how we do things at the school to include virtual really helps. Doing your meetings virtually as well as face to face. You have your families that want to come to the campus, have coffee, be present, um, and see someone. And then you have your families that can't make it, but they can log on virtually and they can participate virtually. So it's important to include both methods. Ever since, and we're fully equipped with all of that. So, and a lot of times we drop one thing when we start another. So when COVID was here, we did everything virtually because we had to. And now that COVID's not here, we think everybody wants to be face to face, but everybody's not able to be face to face. So we really need to make sure that we're including those people who can't be, because a lot of people can turn on their phones at work, listen, and participate and know what's going on and feel like they are a part of their child's education. And maximizing use of limited school resources. The last time we had a deficit in our budget in schools was probably 2007, maybe. I think the public schools, they cut the budget significantly. And I remember we couldn't even buy paper. It was bad. So we had to, really, really limit the resources that we used to give out to everybody, and we had to ration them. We might be facing that again when we already know that Trump is going to cut our budget. How much we don't know, what that's going to look like. We may walk in this school year and they say, "Oh, Title I is gone." So if Title I is gone, a lot of us live off of Title, and so or it supplements us tremendously. And for those who don't know, Title I is the one that we get EL support. It helps to drive instruction for our second language learners. And we can use it in so many ways. So if that's gone, we'll have to use that out of the regular budget. And most of the money for the regular budget pays our salaries. So there's the discrepancy. And so you'll lose a lot of your ability to order supplies, buy certain things. And so we have to take a look at that. Now, we'll get past it. Don't worry about that. Um, if he cuts our budget for the next 3 years, we'll live, we'll figure it out. But it means cuts. It means lacking positions. So by the time you finish this program, it might be really rough for counseling and counseling positions. But the good part is he's only in office for 4 years. And when the next group comes in, perhaps maybe they'll put the money back. So those are the things that we have to take a look at. We have to collaborate with our parents. I kind of touched on this already, making sure that we have a parent resource. We went from having one to we don't want anybody on campus because we don't want them watching what we're doing to, well, you have to open the campus back up. It has to be a welcoming environment. So we really need to make sure that we're inviting our parents on campus and asking for their support and their encouragement and asking them to help us because a lot of times they have a lot of ideas and expect the school to do the learning aspect of it and the fun. And there's just not enough of us to do that because if we're focusing on learning, which is our main goal, and teaching learning, then we do have to make it engaging and exciting for the kids. And they have to want to come to school and participate in those activities. But if we don't, we need support with that. We need help from our families with that. And then strategies to help at home. A lot of times teachers are very short. And this is where we step in as counselors. Many times they're short and say, well, you need to help them at home. In my area, many of the parents aren't able to help them out. So if they're not, give them a better solution. We have many, many apps that teach the student. So all the parent has to do is know how to get on the app. The child knows how to get on the app because they get on the app every single day in school. But they'll play around with their parents and say, I don't know how. I don't know. I don't understand. And so when you have your meetings, you're teaching that parent, this is how to do it. They know how to do it. And you just show them, hey, get your QR code, get this, and it will log them on. And then once you show them, they know what they're looking for. And then once you get them on the app, all they have to do is place them in an area where they can watch, make sure they're not toggling, make sure they're not going to the internet and YouTube. And then the app will teach them and review the work that the teacher has done. And they can hear it while they're doing other things, laundry, food, because we know that they have more than one child. So that's what our parent education meetings and the monthly meetings that we have for parents should address. So here's in my PowerPoint, and I'll upload my PowerPoint along with the video under week 3. These are top 10 ways that school counselors can support teachers. And we also help with behavior. So some of the things that we need to do is make sure that we're suggesting what type of behavior, and being clear. I mean, we see a lot of behavior that in 2000 probably was not seen on campus, but now it's more the norm. So just making the parent aware that, um, yes, they need to learn how to be in the school. Maybe they are the only child, they're a little spoiled, maybe they have other diagnoses that haven't been identified yet, that's prohibiting them following the routine that the school has established. So just being clear, like, let's practice these things, giving them step-by-step instructions, for the teacher, for the parent, for everyone that's involved with that student, to help them embrace and learn the norms of the school, providing the academic resources and consultation on accommodations and stuff. So, what are the things that um, people can use to help with academics? Like, if I'm going to give an accommodation, what exactly is accommodation versus what is a modification? Um, So when we collaborate with our support staff, some schools have support staff, some schools don't have support staff. I'm fortunate that I have a math coach, a lit coach, an EL coach. I have BCBA, a social worker, a psychologist, and I also have I think that's everybody. Yeah, so that's everyone. So um, I have a wealth of resources that and a team of people that I can pull together to discuss the needs of these children and what direction we're going in. And they all provide a wealth of information on that specific student, depending. So my math coach and my literacy coach, how I utilize them a lot is through the student success team meetings. I'm the coordinator of it. And if I need some additional assessment, perhaps the teacher is overwhelmed, new, whatever the case may be, um, and they aren't able to get the assessments that I need to discuss with the parent, the levels of where the child is, then I will call on them to do the assessment for me. And of course, I'm getting the assessment in a one-on-one situation, but I'm not getting it in a classroom situation. So I do share that information with the parents. Again, collaborating with my school psychologist, that's another team. I'm on because I'm the coordinator of the student success team. That's the path that we use to get them to psychoeducational assessment, and the path that if we have a letter that's that the parent is requesting, that we still have a student success team meeting to discuss what the parent is looking for. What does the parent see? And then we document that. If they request an IEP specifically, we move forward with that. And we just document what was stated at the meeting, according to the timelines. But if there's some leeway and there's some explanation, and the data that we currently have does not support that we're ready for psychoeducational assessment, then we try to get the parent to rescind, showing them through the data how well they're progressing. Maybe they are below grade level, but not far enough to qualify for an IEP. So we kind of make sure that we go over that. We talk about all the supports that are available. If there's counseling that's needed, parent training, behavior management, and our school welcomes everyone from the outside. So if the parent is already working with an outside agency on behavior, then we also make sure that we invite them to the school, and sign release of um, authorization. And then we also make sure that we um, collaborate with them and invite them to the student success team meetings. Um, so the National Association of Secondary School Principals and our College Board National Office really supports us in the dialogue with administrators. If you have an administrator that does not support school counseling, and you may come across them. I've come across a few in my 27 years in counseling. So these are different ways, and they consistently update this because some principals don't believe in the counseling aspect of it. So some of them just see get them to college and that's it. There's more to our jobs than just getting them to college. And then these are the different positions that we have available for school counseling as far as, let me make sure somebody, give me 1 second. Oh, no. Then we want to make sure these are the different positions that we have available for school counselors in the counseling office and how we can support them and the personnel that we have for them. Also, if you haven't heard of the LPCC, Concordia has that program as well. And the LPCC program allows you to be a clinical counselor, which is moving up where you do clinician as well as, so you can do that on top of school counseling, kind of puts you in the realm of MFTs and social workers. So I always encourage students to get more. If you're young enough and it's not taxing to go back to school, get as much as you can in your industry because you're competing with so many people. So as a school counselor, we're competing with social workers, MFTs, people who can do clinical counseling. So if you can put that under your belt and say, I also can do clinical counseling, I'm licensed to do that, you'll be hired in a district as a school counselor. But they may hire you because you have that clinical background, which means you can give information at district level meetings and support in other ways and giving that additional information. So do look into that if you haven't already. So challenges that occur in group counseling. So we talked about time is a big issue. So looking at your group and seeing how long they can, how long it can last. We have our average times for 5-year-olds, 7-year-olds, and moving on. But it's important that we, with that counseling timeline, some people may not fit in that timeline. So if you have to make it shorter to get them to retain the information, then you make it shorter because sometimes longer doesn't make it work. Getting the parent permission. The informed consent is a must. As soon as you have a small group, that is what you're sending out. You're sending out, this is what the group is for, this is what I'll be discussing, and this is what you're signing for. And you don't want to deviate from that. Because if anything is discussed and they say, I didn't sign for that, you want to be able to go back to your signature, the paper that you sent out where they signed it and said, this is what I discussed, this is what we went over, and this is what I'm addressing. Achieving the correct membership. Somebody can look like they're perfect for group, but when they get in there, they're easily distracted. And so it's not working for them. So it's really important to know that you can dismiss someone. And when you dismiss them from the group, maybe you pick them up in individual counseling. Maybe they're great with the classroom lessons, just gauging what's best for that individual. The non-volunteer group. So this is the class lessons. As long as you're doing your tier 1, you don't need to send out that group information. You are the school counselor. This is what you address. You address these things based on the needs of the students at the school. You show the data, where you collected your needs and how you got them and why you had that lesson. And then that supports what you're doing. Okay. And that way, if anybody has any concerns about why did you have that particular group, why are you going into class discussing that, you have your data that supports it. Confidentiality, you guys did an excellent job answering the confidentiality in our scenarios. And so it's really hard to keep confidentiality, but we have to maintain it. So we have to be cautious as to who we're sharing the information with. And even if you hear information, just remind a teacher, did you get authorization from the parent to share this with me? That just helps you to gauge when you're calling. Are you waiting for them to share that information with you? Or are you able to say that the teacher shared with me that you have these concerns and that she was comfortable and that you were comfortable as the parent sharing um, the teacher sharing that with me as a school counselor. So just making sure we do that and keeping confidentiality with our students when they're in group and not sharing out additional information. Um, Go to training. My 27th year, I go to training all the time, just to hone in on my skills, see what's new with the theories, and make sure that I'm addressing those concerns. I go to DBT, RBT, CBT, just to hear how and what is going on out there and how I can improve. All right. So that pretty much is chapters 5 and 6. All right. Okay, so let me see who's here. Everybody's here. Somebody's missing. Stephanie, did you make it back in? Okay, I see you. Who's this? Okay, I think everybody's here that needs to be here or said that they were going to be here. All right, I'm going to put you in breakout groups now. So kind of organize yourself as I set up the breakout groups and get yourself ready to share your presentation. You'll be able to share in the breakout groups. You'll have full access to it. I'll jump in just to observe and just see the different lessons. Again, I am not grading you on this. So you won't see that reflected in your essay, anything that I saw. Okay. All right. I'm going to open up all four. One room's going to have, or two rooms are going to have 3 people in it, and 2 rooms are going to have 4 people in it. Now, if we finish a little early, I'm going to give us time to meet with our groups that we're assigned at the end. So, for our final assessment. So I want to use all of the class time to make sure that we have the ability to communicate with each other while we're here. I think we're just missing one person. So we'll do that today as well. And I'll give time in our fifth live session for the same. Okay, I'm opening up all the rooms now.
Or
So we're supposed to be like treating it like a lesson, right? And like ask the questions to the group and get the responses from the group, or just tell what we would be doing.
okay.
Okay.
I think, well, no response from the group, right? Because we're gonna like pretend that like we have students that are not like actually there. If that makes sense, I think.
What you're going to do is just basically say, okay, I would say this to the students, and then hopefully I'd get these responses. And then if I don't, then I would say, oh, well, what about this? And just how you're generating the answer, because you're not always going to get the answer from the students. So what if they don't come up with it? What's your fail safe for that? But you're not going to ask that of the group.
Okay. Thank you for clarifying.
Okay. So I guess I'll go first if no one else wants to volunteer.
Go for it.
Okay, I'll share my screen. I do have a PowerPoint. Okay, can everybody see it? Okay, I'll leave it in this mode because last time I did slideshow, it didn't work. But so I prepped a lesson on positive self-talk. To start out, and this is kind of made for like maybe fourth to eighth grade students. So to start out, I started out with just some this or that questions. So like, what would you rather have, pizza or tacos forever? Would you rather have a cat or a dog? Um, and these seem like completely random when you think about positive self-talk. But then I would kind of go into how every day we all make choices. And one of the most important choices we make is how we talk to ourselves. So I would go into kind of what is self-talk, kind of explaining that, it's kind of the voice inside of our head every day. Sometimes it can be helpful, sometimes it can be negative. Uh, and then asking the students, what are some negative thoughts you've heard people say about themselves? So maybe some answers would be like, you know, I'm really bad at math, or I don't feel good enough, or I'm stupid, or, just negative things like that. We can get some responses like that from the students. And like having the question kind of be about things you've heard other people say about themselves, kind of keeps it from being too vulnerable, of them having to share thoughts that they've had themselves. And then why do you think people talk to themselves that way? So kind of gathering thoughts on that. And of course, like with this age group, if they have no idea, maybe I can kind of probe a little bit um, and try to figure out, or just kind of have them think about where some of their own thoughts have come from. So like, did somebody tell you this at some point? Or maybe you saw someone talk about themselves like that in a television show, stuff like that. Um, and then kind of going into how can we rewrite the script. So kind of like looking back at those negative thoughts that we talked about before, how can we write those into a more positive way of thinking? So like um, the I'm really bad at math. So a more positive way of looking at that would be, math is really difficult, but I'm trying my hardest, and I can reach out to others for help. Or, I'm uh,
If you happen records of child support payments, if parents a child as a if parent is receiving child support, checking account balance, net worth of investments, if they have investments, and then yeah, you're starting the FIAS application, and make sure your deadline is March 3rd, and then you just basically just list colleges that you're considering of attending. And then finally, after taking into consideration costs, academics, and what colleges
Helping us know where we want to. Oh, did y'all hear that? It started recording. Was that, did I do that? Okay.
No, I think when the teacher jumped in, it records it.
Oh, okay.
I think you're good.
Okay. Um, It helps us build motivation by helping us stay focused on what we want to achieve. It helps us improve our time management by helping us use our time wisely and avoiding procrastination. It boosts our self-confidence because it shows us that achieving our goals are, we can do it, pretty much. And it encourages growth because it pushes us to learn new things and get better over time. So I wanted to share this framework called the SMART Goals Framework. And it's an acronym. The letters stand for specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-bound. And so the next time you think of a goal you want to set, oh my God, sorry. This is so, what did I do? Okay. Next time you guys think of a goal you want to set, some questions you can ask yourself are, what am I trying to achieve? How will I be able to tell I've achieved it? Is this goal possible and reasonable? Is this goal relevant to my life right now? And when do I want this goal met by? And so here's two different goals, but only one of them follows the SMART goals framework. So if you guys want to if anybody wants to volunteer, oh my God, so sorry. If anybody would like to pop in and say, what makes this goal different from this one?
So, Gabriella, this would be the part where you would just kind of say, then I would solicit, then I
Oh,
would, and move on. Don't use your peers as your actual class.
okay. All right. And this is where we would go over what makes this a SMART goal. And so in this next slide, I highlighted this is what makes this specific. This is what makes it measurable. This is what makes it time bound. And then this is just another exercise I would make them go over. I'd let them look at the goal they wrote down and then turn it into a SMART goal and then just list out 3 action steps, 1 obstacle that might get in their way, and then 1 strategy for overcoming that obstacle. And then I'd let them reflect and share out with the group their goals. And that's it.
Great job. Great job. So that's exactly how I want everybody else to go. Just make sure if you're doing the activity, you're saying this is the part where I do the activity. And this is, and then, this, I would use about 5 to 10 minutes on this, exactly like the sharing out. We know how long that takes, for people to share out. And we're talking about 6 to 10 kids and giving them about 2 to 3 minutes to talk about what they've learned. And you're going to do follow-up questions. Great job. Who's next?
I can go next. Sorry, my Wi-Fi is being a little slow. Okay, so I would be talking to a group of middle school students.
Katie, oh, there you go. It's going really slow, just so you know. So your internet connection
Okay,
is probably just a little bit slow. So you might want to stay in the non-presenting and just kind
okay,
of, if you, just in case, because it looks like your internet's a little.
yeah, thank you. Okay, so I would be talking to a group of middle schoolers about
I'm gonna share my. Can you guys see my screen or did I do that wrong?
I don't see it.
My bad. Oh, there we go. Sorry. Okay. Whoa. Why does it look like that? I'm sorry, guys. All right. So I'm gonna go ahead and start. Okay. Hi, class. Welcome in. Welcome in. Please go ahead and take a seat. We have a lot of seats all over the place. So we're going to get started really quickly once we get a lot of people settled in. And as you guys are walking in, there is a QR code on the board. So please scan the QR code. I'm going to go around and make sure we all have the same thing on our phones, or you can scan on your iPad, whichever is okay. So just go ahead and scan the QR code. On the QR code, you're going to see a couple questions. The first thing you're going to see is write your name. So please write your first and last name, no nicknames, please. Okay. All right. You guys can keep on coming in, coming in. All right. Hi, everyone. If you don't know who I am your counselor. My name is Stephanie Radillo. I am right in the front office. So if you guys have probably met me before, but if you have not, hello and welcome. You can go ahead, you can find my office in the front. I'm always around. So whenever you need me, ever have a question, I'm always there. So today we're going to start talking a little bit about mental health. As you guys see on the board, we do have a little presentation going on. So please, I ask for everyone's undivided attention. No phones out. If you guys can place your phones up in your backpacks or away, that would be amazing, please. All right, we're going to get started. So this is going to be a little introduction about what mental health is. So as you guys saw in your questionnaire, there is like a question to ask, do you know what mental health is? So can I see if by raise of hands or whoever's comfortable sharing, do you guys know like what mental health is? It's okay if you don't. It's okay. If you've probably heard the word, that's okay. Raise your hand if you haven't. Perfect. All right. Thank you so much. You guys put your hands down. So we're going to get started and just talk about a little bit what mental health is and how we can cope with mental health. Okay. What is mental health? Just like physical health, mental health is an essential aspect of overall our well-being. It affects our thoughts, our emotions, sleep, relationships, and just like how we handle different situations. So, a big thing that I like to say is mental health is just as important as your physical health. So, please, we want to make sure that we're taking care of our mental health. And we're going to move on. Next, emotions. Did you know that everyone, including kids like you, all of us, adults, kids, everyone, we all experience different emotions. Emotions are feelings that we have inside of us. They can be happy, they can be sad, they can be angry, we can get scared, excited, and there's just so many more emotions, and all of our emotions are very valid. It's normal to feel different emotions at different times, and it's super important to express them and acknowledge them. So when we are feeling happy,
Yeah, and I like that it was a topic that, I mean, for myself through school, I had no idea what was required of me. I just kind of trusted that the schedule was right and enough. So yeah, it's important that they know themselves too, that they can double check that they're getting everything that they should be.
Yeah, totally. Thank you.
I'll go next. So I did mine lesson plan based off of like for middle schoolers, like probably especially eighth graders, because that's where my field work is probably going to be around working with middle schoolers. But I'm going to be doing the topic of how to manage your emotions. I mean, I wrote a script, but I'm not sure if I should follow that. But like I would start by like welcoming everyone in the classrooms, like sorry, not the classroom, the room, but I'd say like, good morning, everyone. I hope you're doing well and your week's been going great. And while they're coming in, like have them sign their names so I can know which students are absent and keep track of that. And then I would ask them to share like anything about their week, if they want to. So like highs and lows, something cool that happened, general thoughts or something new that they learned that could be like fun to talk about. And then from there, if it's a first session, which this is not, I would establish rules, but just so to like re-go back over those rules, I would talk about confidentiality and how it's important to keep things between, just us and active listening. I would then go and do a feelings check. I have like a picture that I uploaded to document. Let me see if I can like share that. It's this one. But I don't know if you guys can see that, but it's like the wheel. So if they're having like trouble like coming up with how they're feeling, I could offer like an alternative way for them to explain it, which is through like this wheel. Um, and then from there, they can just keep talking about that. And then after that, if I can go ahead and talk about the objective of the day. So because they're talking about managing their emotions, I'm going to have them talk about one thing that they think triggers their like emotional reactions, and then one healthy coping strategy. And I would begin by having them journal in their journals about one thing they're feeling recently, with whether it's like anger, sadness, and one thing that they think is leading to that. And then I also have like healthy coping mechanisms, skills. So I'd pass this out and have them look at this and think of different ways that they could possibly um, take these into account when trying to manage their emotions. And then for the group activity, I have that they will have or like a role playing skit situations. I'll divide their groups, the class into different groups, and then have them play out different situations depending on whether I give them like a healthy coping mechanism or an unhealthy one. And then they present it to the group, and then people can see like how the different situations would play out depending on like the different reactions that they pick and the different like coping skills they pick, whether those are unhealthy or healthy. And then from there, I can ask them to like come bring it back in and share any thoughts they had based on the lesson and the skit. And then they can I'll end it off by giving them a prompt for their journals, which is to talk about one thing they learned for the day and one way that they can cope if they have like a trigger to a reaction to like lead to a reaction. And then I will make sure to keep all the information all together in like a folder so that I could keep track for the next time that they come in. And that would be the end of my lesson.
I love how thorough you are like throughout your entire lesson plan. It really shows how well thought out and how prepared you are for every type of student and just giving them options because they may not know like, oh, this is something I do um, just for fun, but maybe I can do this when like I'm struggling or I'm experiencing an emotion. So I really like how you explained all of that to them.
Thank you. I'm definitely going to use a PowerPoint though. I really like how you did that. I feel like it helped organize things and it helped me as like a viewer. I was like all over the place. Sorry.
No, for your grade level that you spoke about, Fatima, I think that the pictures will be fine. You don't have to have a PowerPoint all the time, but you have to have a visual. And so just something that you can refer back to is excellent for the kids. And then just one extra thing is what do you do for the students who can't write? Because you'll come across a lot of them who can't and don't want to write. So having an alternative, because you have two journal activities, which are excellent, again, excellent strategies for middle school students, because your mind is they should know how. But what if you have that one student who's, because we'll have a student with disabilities that struggle with writing or struggle with that. So that's not their favorite thing to do. So what is your going to be your, because they can participate. Can they record their information? How will they, so that they can complete the assignment? So you're seeing that they are getting that information as well.
Yeah. Could their drawing be like a good alternative?
Drawing is great. Yeah, just keep that in mind because just today, I'm sending a lot of students who are reading at kinder and writing at kindergarten level going into sixth, seventh, and eighth. So that's just the reality. And it's unfortunate, but that's the backlash we're getting from COVID. So they'll be very articulate, but they can't spell, they can't write. So just keeping that in mind. Just I don't want you because that person also is going to struggle because they're struggling academically, they're going to struggle emotionally. So it's the perfect person that will land in your small group.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Mhm.
Fatima, I did want to add that I liked that you taught them, you were teaching them the different coping skills, like so that it addresses like different students and how they learn and how they can cope, like the
idea of that. Okay. And then once we finish that, we would go over what it is that we learned today. I would ask a few students, maybe like two or three, to volunteer what it is that we learned today. And then we would also go over the strategies to remind everybody how to ask our classmates for help, how to use the catch-up organizer, how to use the buddy system. And then we would also have, I would also remind them that in case that they missed or that their buddy is absent, that they can also go to the class binder where I would fill, me or the teacher would have all the worksheets for the day and all the lessons for the day that they missed so that they can go and check. And then before they go, I would ask for volunteers, what's one strategy that you would use the next time they are absent from school? I would also remind them to sign up for a buddy and then fill out the post test, which is the same questions from before. Fill out the pre-test again, but in a post-test kind of way, and remind them to have a good day and remind them also to be kind to everyone that they meet because we are all fighting battles we don't know. And that's it.
Phenomenal.
Good.
That was really good. I
You
was
were
like,
very prepared.
Thank you.
like,
I thought it had to be like extra and then we really had to like, but I guess.
I like the buddy
I'm
system.
glad you showed everything, Liliana, because that you're showing everything and that's how you would do it. So people can get ideas from you. Some people are at a different level. So you knowing and you look like you have a little bit more experience with groups. So then that kind of gives other people ideas on what to do next. So this is exactly the purpose of this, so that people can get ideas like, oh, this is what I need to add to keep the attention. Because when you're in real time, it's not as easy to manage, So as many things that you can have and learn from others is great. Thank you for that. Thank you for being so prepared.
Liliana, did you like learn those in the other classes, like those worksheets and stuff? Did they give you examples?
No, I basically went off of the template, the Ask a Lesson Plan
Mhm.
template, because throughout the program, we've been kind of like adding to it steps. So I basically did it like in a classroom lesson type thing. Yeah,
okay.
and then watching a lot of YouTube videos, like I'm a visual learner, so I go and like I go to counselors on YouTube or like teachers and I say like, how is it that it's supposed to be? Because I haven't been in the classroom in a while, so I kind of lost my, my experience, I guess. Yeah, but that's how I did it. If you guys need help, I can help you.
Appreciate it. Appreciate it.
Well, also, there's a lot of books out there. So when you get to your actual practicum, what you're going to do is, they should have shelves of different curriculums. And then, it'll be written out for you exactly what you need to do. But then you have to read it and say, okay, is this me? Would I say it like this? Would I do it like this? And then you got to alter it for the group that you're going to be presenting to. And that's when you're going to add more or the visuals. And I just watched one from the other group, and she just had a couple of pictures, and she said, I would have a PowerPoint. And I was explaining to her, she didn't need a PowerPoint because you've got sixth, seventh, and eighth graders that you're talking to. So usually for that particular thing, just having visuals up there, pictures up there that can get them started so you can point to get them going is enough. You didn't have to present, because putting together a PowerPoint takes a lot of time, And so with all the lessons that you have, and if you're like me, you throw away what you have and you start all over again because you don't keep everything that you have. I mean, you download from teachers, pay teachers, you do all of those things, but then you make it your own once you get there. Has everyone gone in this group already? Okay, perfect.
We can't hear you.
Sorry, I hit the button before I was leaving. You guys can come back to the main room. Sorry about that.
Thank you, everyone.
Yeah, thank you guys. You had great ideas.
I'm gonna jump into the others, and you guys can, if you know your partners, I'm just gonna open up the groups. I'm gonna open up groups so you'll select your partners yourself, so that I don't have to actually place you in your groups. And I will use the rest of the time to start coordinating those and working with our partners on the 8 lesson, the signature assignment.
Wait,
Okay.
wait. Pause. Sorry, I didn't even cut you off. So we choose our own group?
No. I sent out your groups to
Oh,
you
okay,
week
okay.
one, that group. So if you can go back to that, I'll post it up. I have it available, but then I'm just going to open up the 4 groups that we have. I'm going to open up 4 groups and you'll just join. So I'll pick the first person and say, okay, everybody in her group join 1. Everybody in this person's group join 2. Everybody in this person's group join 3. So that's what I'll do to make it go faster. Instead of, because
Okay.
it takes too long for me to put everybody in a group, and we'll just have a little bit of time. Let me check on the other groups real fast.
Class.
Yeah.
Had an opportunity to go in this group.
Yes, we're
Yeah.
all done.
You guys join us in the main room.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Up yet.
All right, we're getting everybody else to join us back. Give me 1 second. Let me go to the last 2 rooms. Hi, everyone. Has everybody had an opportunity to go here? Join us back in the main group, please. Have you guys had an opportunity to go?
Yes.
Okay, come on, join us back in the main room.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, so I am going to quickly share your groups. Take a look at your group names. This is for our signature assignment, and we have about 30 minutes left of class. So what I want you to do is use this opportunity to meet with your groups, decide on the topic, decide in what section you're going to do. So there's 4 of you, right? So I would split up um, 4 lesson plans, and then 2 people working on the actual paper. And then that way, and of course, everybody looks at everybody's stuff, right? And everybody critiques. And, if you see something that's wrong, don't say, oh, that was your responsibility. And, you want to make sure that it's correct. One question that did come up was, is this are we supposed to put this in sequential order? Yes, you are. So if I'm going to be responsible for the first 4 lessons, I'm going to teach these skill sets. And then for the next 5 through 8, I should build on what I've already taught, right? And so that's going to make up the 8 lessons. And they should be in a reasonable order. So that's what you're focusing on. So if you have suggestions for your person, like when you're sharing it, I recommend that you use Google Docs. And then your template, all you do is download the template for the lesson plans, and then have one main one that you guys are sharing with everybody. And then you're adding your information in there. Okay. And then that way, you just keep adding the lessons as you do it. Okay. And then you'll put it all in one document. And then you guys are already in groups. So only one person needs to actually upload the final document. Any questions? All right. I am going to give you this time. I ask that you not log off prior to the 7:30 meeting time unless we've talked about it beforehand. Use this time to really discuss and finalize things so that when you leave this evening, week 3, you know what you're responsible for and that you can move forward on your part without any concerns from your members. In case this person's going on vacation, this person. So today, you guys should be opening up docs, making sure everybody is sharing, making sure you have everyone's email, phone number, etc., so that you can communicate with each other because this is summer and people are going on vacations and people are doing these, but this assignment will be due. So I want to use that time to that. I'm going to open up the breakout rooms. Does everybody see their partners? I'm going to name the first person on that group. So make sure you know who you're with, and then you're going to join that group. Okay. When I open it up. So I'm going to stop sharing right now. I'm going to open up 4 breakout rooms and close all the other ones. Hold on, give me a second. Okay. Okay, so, oh man, that's not what I want to do. I have to do it this way. Okay, group 1 is going to be, is Carla here? No, okay. Jessica, Bethany, and Fatima. I have to actually add you guys. All right. Group 2 is going to be Gabrielle, Katie, Caroline, Group 3, Liliana. Okay. And Stephanie. And group 4 is. Okay, so if you're missing partners, because group 1 and group 4, you're missing someone. So, just make sure someone is in charge of summarizing and sending an email to that 4th person and including them in the email saying, this is what we decided. If you have any feedback, please let us know. And because you got to move forward. If they're not here, it's week 3, and I don't want you to waste any more time. Okay. When you're done, you can log off at 7:30, and good night. Did it open? Okay, perfect.